humanity. The core story is a hero myth. And the hero goes off into the adventure of his or her life and confronts the dragon and garners the treasure and brings it back to the community and distributes it. Okay, but in classic mythology, the heroes are virtually always men. And so the women in my classes always had a problem with that. If the hero myth is the central story of humanity, well, what does that mean for women? Well, in Christianity, Christ is the savior of women and men. And Christ's passion story is a extreme variant of the hero myth. And so there's a notion at the bottom of our culture that the pathway to redemption for women is the adoption of a heroic mode of being, you know, in the face of life's difficulties and problems. But there's more, because the thing about women is that their mythological orientation, I think, it's multidimensional and complex. So there's a couple of other mythological variants that stack up beside the hero myth for women. There's Beauty and the Beast, where a woman finds a man who might otherwise be somewhat monstrous and predatory, but maybe is oriented positively in his fundamental nature, and she tames him. And that's a story of how women find a man who's sexually attractive and also productive, responsible, and useful. That is the most common female pornographic fantasy by orders of magnitude, Beauty and the Beast variant. And then there's also the image of women that's put forward, let's say, in Christianity, where you don't have an individual woman. You have woman and infant as a unit, right? And so now I would perhaps hesitate to suggest that part of the reason that you felt isolated when you were pushing your pram around small English town is because in our society, I saw the same thing with my wife, by the way, when she had little kids, our society does not hold sacred the image of woman and infant as the fundamental unit of female, as a fundamental unit of female identity. Now, you know, women's nervous systems too, as far as I can tell, women's nervous systems are calibrated not for their own happiness, but for the joint success of woman plus infant. So women are more agreeable, which means they're more empathic and more interested in people. And they're higher in negative emotion, which means they're a pretty good alarm system. Now, that increase in negative emotion makes them susceptible to depression and anxiety, and that increase in agreeableness makes them susceptible to exploitation by psychopathic men. But it's very much benefit to their infants, because you have to be agreeable to take care of an infant, and you have to be an alarm system to be sensitive enough to detect all the threats in the environment that might beset a vulnerable infant.